Welcome to How to Become a Production SQL Database Administrator. My name is Raphael. We're now in the position to start installing SQL Server on our server that we created, Server 1. So let's see how to install SQL Server. One thing you'll note is that when we installed or downloaded the SQL Server 2014, we went to our downloads and we saw it as a ISO file, as you can see right here. Now, my operating system is a Windows 10 operating system. So if I go right click and open with, and I can use Power to Go, and that will allow me to extract the files from the ISO image. If you don't have Windows 10 or if you don't have an ISO extractor, then this is how you do it. And what I've done is, the first thing I did is I went to my drive C and I created a folder called SQL 2014. And then the next thing I did, and I'll give you this, is right here is the ISO extractor. So if you copy this and paste it to your website, you'll get this WinISO. Click on the download and you'll go through the process. Once you go through the process, you'll be able to extract the files. And let me show you how I did that, if we can get to that application. So let me look at that and let me see where it is. So whoops, let's go back here and let's see where it's installed. Now yours may vary, obviously, depending on where it is, but let's see how we got to that point. What is it called? It's new, Win. So open that and click on that. And this application will open. Now, you can register and buy it, but we just need to use it momentarily, so we'll go later. And what you need to do is go Open File and direct it to that Downloads folder. So as you can see, we've got two of them. We want the SQL 2014. Click on that and go Open. Here you will see the files within the ISO image. Just highlight that and we're going to go Extract. And now point yourself to that newly created folder called SQL, as we did in right here. So create that and direct yourself and go OK. As soon as you go OK, those files will instantaneously be extracted to that folder. So that's how you do that. Now, once we get that, notice that this is the SQL and everything has been extracted, and this is our setup file for SQL. But one thing you'll notice is that this file, this download file, is on my desktop. If I go to my SQL Server 1, how do I get that? How do I get that over here? And the way to do that is what's called sharing a folder. So I'm going to show you how to set up a shared folder so you can access. So let me minimize this. This right here is my desktop, and this is the virtual machine. And what we want to do is be able to access anything on my desktop from the virtual machine. So that's what we're trying to do. So the way to do that is as follows. Go to your manager, go to your Server 1, go to your shared folder and left click it. This will pop up. Once you want to do that, what you want to do now is go to the plus sign. And we're just navigating to where that folder is on your host. So go Other. Go to your C drive where I just created the extraction and go to SQL and then just click Select Folder. As soon as you click select Folder, you will be able to make it auto mount, and that's it, and go OK. Once you do that, you'll see it like this and go OK. Once that is attached, you'll go back to your instance. And in this particular case, what you want to do is reboot your system. So I've already done it and reboot it. If after rebooting you don't see the network here, then what you want to do is go Device, Install Guest. Sometimes this re-adding the additions helps, but if you reboot it and you don't see it, then go to Device and Install and then reboot again. Once you do that now, and if I double click this, you can see this is networked, and now I can see that file that's on my hard drive on my desktop here. So now I can start continue. We can actually copy this if you want, but that's fine. So I'm just going to go, now I'm going to install SQL Server on my instance. So go to Setup and go click. And this does take a few minutes to start up. Now, this is a great feature of SQL Server 2014, 2016. They've made it relatively easy to install. 2016 is a little more complicated than 2014, but nevertheless, it's relatively simple. So what we need to do is go to Installation, New SQL Standalone Server, and this wizard will start. And we're just going to follow the defaults. In a production environment, you'll have slight variations, but we can get to that later. This is an evaluation, so go Next. And accept the terms, and go Next. And let's show the details. We want everything to be green, so that's good. And go Next. Now, this does take a few minutes, so here I'm going to pause the video. And when this is complete, I'll come back and we can continue. So I'll just pause this video for a second and I'll see you in a second. And we're back. I guess it didn't take that long. Sometimes it doesn't. So this is the next page. We're just going to go with the defaults. So select the SQL feature installation and go Next. Here's the options for selecting the features. Select all. Once you've selected all, what I want you to unselect is Reporting Services SharePoint, because we're not going to be doing anything with SharePoint. And over here, the rest we are, and analysis. We're not going to be doing anything in analysis. So let's do that. When we don't need anything, you don't need to activate it. So go Next. And again, leave everything for defaults. You'll see the prerequisites here. If there's a prerequisite missing, the SQL Server will indicate it, and you have to resolve those problems first. But most likely all our requisites are installed, so that's a good thing. And you can see that the package is missing. So we have to install that package before we can do that. So what I'm going to do now is go to the internet and install this package as .NET Frame 3.1 Service Pack, and we'll start. So let me see if we can do it through the, go over here, left click. Maybe the Server Manager, I believe, has it. So go to Local. I'm sorry, go to Dashboard, go to Add Roles and Features. Go to Next, 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 Next. And this is what it wants right here. So click on this. This will give us the .NETwork framework, and go Next. And install. Now this will take a few minutes to install. And what you want to do now is when you're back on the SQL Server here, this particular part, you don't have to necessarily go back and restart the process. If you're missing something, in this particular case, we're lucky enough that the operating system allows you to do this. Sometimes in the previous versions, this was a separate entity that you had to install. In this case, it's part of it. So what you'll have to do is just go rerun, and then this will become green. And that's what I'm hoping on. And hopefully this won't take that long so you can see it in action. So once that works, is installed, I'll just go rerun, and it will turn green, and we can continue with the SQL. But this is a good important thing, is that if you need the requisites, these must be installed. Otherwise, as you can see, we can't proceed with the installation. So as I said previously, this was done manually, where you have to go to the internet and download this first. But in this particular case, with the newer version of operating system, it's already contained the .NET. So this may take a couple of seconds more, and if it doesn't, if it takes a few more minutes, then I'll pause the video and then we'll come back and rerun the SQL. This is probably the only problem you're going to get that I've seen when you don't have the prerequisites. Otherwise, it's a very smooth and easy installation of the defaults. So let's just give it a few more seconds and see what happens. If not, I'll pause it. I don't want to waste too much time of your time just waiting for this. So what I'm going to do now, let me just pause it, and as soon as this completes, which hopefully shouldn't be that long, we'll continue. And then I'll show you how we reran this. So I'll pause it and I'll see you in a second. And as you can see, the progress for the installation of .NET Freight has been completed. So now if I go back to my SQL, all I have to do is, rather than restarting the whole system, is just go rerun, and that should pass, which it does, as you can see. So that's great. So we can close that and continue with the SQL installation. So here is the default name, which is MS SQL. And as I said, we're just going to accept the defaults and go next. And the installation of SQL in default is very easy also. So that's one of the great benefits of installing SQL Server. They've made it relatively easy compared to years ago when there was a lot more configuration is involved. So at this point, we'll just continue with the defaults, and then we'll progress. The only thing I want you to do here is the SQL agent is manual. I want you to change it to automatic. The rest is fine, and we can go next. Add the current user, which is the administrator. Go next. We do want to install the SQL reporting services just in case we want to do that, and go next. Add the current user, next, next. And now we're ready to install, and we're done. So now all we're going to do, this is going to take about 15 minutes. So again, I'm going to pause this video, and then at the end, we're going to see successful. And once everything is successfully installed, we'll just test it to verify the SQL can log on, and then we're good. Then we've also done this. So let's see where we are in our progress for each of these things. So the first thing we need to do is install the SQL server, and we're going to do that. Then the next thing we want to do is attach the database work, AdventureWorks 2012, so we can start doing a few of the functions of SQL. So you get an insight of what SQL Server is about, and we'll navigate to the SSMS, which is the Management Studio. So again, this is going to take a few minutes to install, and then when this is complete, I'll come back and we'll start that process again. So again, I'm going to stop this and pause it while this installs. And we're back, as you can see. So the SQL server was installed successfully. As you can see, this is what we're trying to get to. So let's just close that. And let's close that also. And let's just verify. So on your, let me get rid of that. And let me close that. So on your keyboard, press the window key. And now you'll see some icons that are related to SQL. So you can see SQL 14 here. If I right-click it, it allows you to pin it to taskbar, so do that. And right now, that's all I'm concerned about. You can do others, but that's the only thing I want to be worried about. Now let's go back to our desktop. And now we're going to start the SQL by clicking the icon. So there's SQL Server 14 and being installed. And it'll just take a few seconds. And then what we can do is just verify that the connectivity is fine, and do a few select statements against the database. So while this is loading, let's go back to our Word, and let's see what we've done. At this point now, we've installed SQL Server 2014. So the next thing I want to do now is actually attach a database, which is a sample database called AdventureWorks 2012-14. And this will have various tables that we can do some data against, analysis against. So let's do that. And as you can see, so let's just connect. This is the next screen you're going to get. And on the left-hand side, you'll see the connectivity to the SQL Server. And if I expand the databases here, you can see all the databases that are relevant to this. Now here at this point, I don't have any what's called user-defined databases. So that's the next process, is to attach a database called AdventureWorks 2012. So I can actually do some select statements and update statements and show you how to demonstrate how to do that. So that's the next video that's going to be dedicated to this, installing the SQL AdventureWorks 2012. So I'm going to just leave it here now and continue with the next video for the AdventureWorks. So I'll see you in the next video. So my name is Raphael, and this is how to become a production SQL database administrator. See you in the next video.